session planned for about 45 minutes to 1 hour related to basic stored procedures. Very basic, but in a useful way. Let's understand the real beauty of procedures or real purpose of stored procedures. I mean, scenarios where we can use stored procedures within database. So, agenda for today's class would be procedure uses within this box. Mostly by next week or later next week. Please stay tuned to your emails. Given some time considerations, let's plan for one more session on procedures tuning. Then we'll go for one particular session on procedures with Power BI for attendees from Power BI background or participants who include Power BI in their resumes, and separate session for procedures in Power Apps, procedures in Fabric, procedures in data engineering, procedures in Python, procedures in programming. I'm planning for procedures for programming and Python single session, whereas Power BI and Power Apps, it can be another single session. Data engineering with procedures requires separate session. Again, Fabric, it would be another separate session. We'll do as and when required. Let's see. Today's agenda: procedures within the core OLTP environment. Let's get started what it is. As it is a live and friendly webinar, I could see more number of participants. Firstly, thanks for joining me today early in the morning Sunday or in the evening Saturday, busy pre-planned weekend, US and Canada attendees. Really, thank you for your valuable time. Bowing my head. Let's get started now. Let's understand what is procedure and why we need to go for it. Basic level, but in a useful way. Let's get started. And mostly next week or later next week, I request you to again stay tuned to your emails and we are going to join for next webinar. Let's get started now what it is. Let's see. Well, firstly, a short intro on what is procedure for about 5-10 minutes. 5 minutes should be fine, I believe. Then we'll go for where to use it practically. Well, let's see what is procedure first. Just wait. Then we'll proceed for when to use it, in what scenarios we can use it. Yes, so here it is. I'll just take you to the definition first. Procedures are database objects. Procedures assume database is my body, table is my brain, procedure is my skin. Really, it is my skin. It can sense. Yes, procedures can protect the database from unwanted data inserts, like the skin protecting me, So I have to care my skin. Well, my brain is a table, procedure is my skin. Well, theoretically, as per the definition, okay, it is used to store selected DML, DDL queries. Fine, perfect. But for why? What? What's the purpose? What's the hidden beauty inside it? Let's understand. Once again, friends, thank you attendees who have been joining us. I could see few attendees joined just now. Thank you once again. It's a friendly webinar this weekend, so mic may not be active. I could see there are more than 920 participants, right? Because it was given to all our recent previous participants from all batches, all courses, me and other trainers. Okay, so mic may not be available, but still you can put your questions on chat. Questions option is available. Question option is available, or you can even mail us. We'll take it from there. Please allow me for that. Let's get started. Procedures to store any kind of SQL statement, we call it. Let me start with a small basic procedure first. Create a procedure to report list of employees from a given country. What is this? Assume any online reporting application like LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, or anything. They ask us to select some item from the drop down. You select the item from the drop down, you get the report automatically. Right? How? Internally, it's a procedure that is helping us to perform such activity. See the syntax on the screen carefully. Create procedure name with parameter. That drop down value that we provide is parameter. As and the required select statement or insert or update or delete or create, alter, drop within begin end. Let's take an example. Let me connect to the server first. Let's connect to the server. And just to save time, I'll take one small procedure to start with. Well, so here we go. Create database name. Okay, here it is. Let's create database and connect database. Here, let's create a table first. I'm creating a table. ID, name, right? ID, name, country, and salary. Okay, we got the table ready. As usual, I insert some data into the table. Nothing new. Nothing new. You just wanted to insert some data like this. So create database, connect database, create table, insert data. Now, how to report list of employees only from Canada, or how to report list of employees only from USA. But our requirement, no, you don't want to hard code the country value. Okay, you don't want to hard code the country value. Instead, you want to make it dynamic. You want to make it dynamic. I mean, you don't want to store You don't want to store the query condition. You don't want to store the query condition directly within the query. Okay. Instead, you want to accept that country value from end user as input. See, if you are into Power BI, or if you are into Power Apps or data engineering, especially these three areas, even Fabric also, these middle box, they have front end, back end, both. Power BI is also having its own great storage. Remember, Power BI can store data. Power BI can be generally Power BI we think, okay, it's a front end. No, not at all. Remember, we have a nice set of examples to justify this. Power BI can be a great backend for data engineering, front end, Fabric, front end, Power Apps, front end. Remember that. And Excel. Excel can be a reporting platform. Power BI will be a backend storage platform. But anyway, the actual point here, procedures can be used to enable users select certain items from drop downs, and we get the values based on those drop downs. Those drop downs can be given by Power BI or Power Apps, data engineering, Fabric. So what is actually internally executed? Yes, it is procedure. Create procedure name @country. So remember friends, next time, when you see some drop down like this in any user interface form, means internally we need to learn, oh, backend it is procedure. Create procedure name, and this is the value country varchar as select. So this parameter is there, right? It will be linked to the drop down values in cloud applications, Power BI, Power Apps, etc. How to test? See here, execute procedure name like this. Observe carefully. What we are learning? How to report list of employees from a given country. So create a procedure, execute like this. So whatever value you supply, see here, whatever value you supply, this value will go to parameter. Parameter will go to query. Now who is supplying the value? I said app, like Power Apps, mobile app, desktop apps, or from Power BI, user interface, any kind of interface. They select a country, they click submit or view report or enter, they get the required report automatically. And we have a separate session anyway for procedures with Power Apps, procedures with Power BI. I'm planning for a total of 4 to 5 sessions for procedures. This is the first one. Okay, we learned it now. We got some basic idea together what a procedure is. Now, what's the practical use out of it? Let's take a small problem here. Issue. issue missing identity values. We know identity property, part of our SQL, MS SQL constraints, basics. Identity property, yes, here it is. Identity property is used to get a sequence of values. I think I can just try this one. I can do this one. Here it is. Identity property is used to get a sequence of values. Let's wait. I'll take one table and show you small practical problem with identity property. I mean, don't use identity property in real world as it is. There are some problems. Let me show you here. So for this purpose, not sure. I'm getting some trouble in using my mouse. Yeah, this one. Missing identity values. What it is, let's see. For example, create table ID. I'll say identity 1,01,000, 1. What it is? Identity means sequence values. Identity is a property used to auto generate sequence values for every insert. Every time you insert, it auto generates one sequence value. Okay, now let's see the problem and how we can use procedures to resolve the problem. I mean, don't use identity property just like that as it is, as per the syntax. No. Why? Let me show you. Insert into table name values. Okay, here it is. Sai, Sam, John, Ami. Okay, so far so good. Right, so far so good, and values will be inserted anyway, no problem. I had some small trouble with my mouse. I'm not sure, maybe due to some webinar tool problem due to more number of attendees, but no issues, will continue. It's a problem for me, no problem, no issues, I handle. Insert into table name values. Okay, so far so good, and 4 rows will be inserted, and let's verify. Select from, it should be employee, my bad. I'll just type it anyway. V1. Okay, we got the sequence value. See here, 1000, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Just wait. Yes, here it is. Now, what's the problem here? Problem is, if you try to insert, some value here. For example, you try to insert some invalid value. Try to insert invalid value. For example, country should be Canada, USA, India. You give some other country. For example, Nepal. Give some country here. What happens? Obviously, you see an error, right? expected. You see error, it's expected. So what? That is a problem here. The next time you insert maybe correct value for a different employee. Problem here is missing identity values. This is the problem. Please see the output here. 1005 is missing. Sorry, 1,05,000 is missing in the output. So never use identity property just like that. Just like that will not work. Then what we do? How to address this big problem, missing identity values? There comes solution, stored procedures. Solution, perform data validations in procedures instead of using constraints. Friends, we are not downgrading constraints. No, no, no. We are understanding a problem with identity, and the problem is missing identity value. See the output carefully. Output down, 1,05,000 is missing. Yeah, 1,01,000, 2, 3, 4, directly 6, 5 is missing. I mean, we are talking from Microsoft SQL, MS SQL perspective. See, if you go for MySQL or Oracle SQL or Postgres, story will be different, completely different. Not all SQLs are same. When working with Microsoft SQL, identity property, this is a problem. Solution, stored procedure. Let's see how it is. For example, let's see our requirement. Okay, missing ID value, solution. I said instead of using data validation business logic directly in constraints, use procedures, I said. But how? Let's see. Solution. Create proc or procedure. Both are same. Either proc or procedure. Both are same. Anything we can use. Okay. And we need to specify. Some name. Procedure for data validations. See, our requirement is to insert the data, but how many values you have to insert for each row? We have to insert 3 values. See there. Name, country, salary. ID will be auto-generated. I'm not saying don't use identity. I was telling use identity, don't use identity directly. Then how to use it? We'll see. So we are going to use identity anyway. It has own nice benefit. We're inserting name in this process. Okay. Country. Of course, varchar or char. And at the rate sal. As. Create procedure name as. Observe carefully. Okay. Create procedure name as. We need to define the required content here. Let's see. Begin. If, okay, if at the rate country in, see, instead of using check constraints directly on the table, better we define the validation conditions inside the procedure. Country in Canada, comma, India, comma, USA. Better to always place the values in alphabetical order, dictionary order. Remember, because in future, if you create any index on country column, in future you create index on country column, then searching for the values in sequence in alphabetical order will be very easier for database engine. Okay, so always place the values in alphabetical order, dictionary order if possible, if you can. If country in so and so and salary greater than that 1 lakh. See, both conditions single touch. If country in Canada, India, USA and salary greater than 1 lakh. See, both conditions should be satisfied, right? Then what we do? Insert into table name. For some reason my mouse has a problem. It's not working correctly. I'm just going by the keyword. Insert into table name values. Which values? Well, it's regular values. Name, country, and @sal. Sai, I want to make my name as not null. Fine. If, remember, @name is not null and like this. For readability purpose, give conditions in a correct way with parenthesis. See, name is not null and country in condition and salary above. Parentheses are optional but good to have them. Then insert else print invalid insert. Okay, so now see here, I create a procedure. Sorry, there should be end also, right? Begin end. Begin is there, line number 3 in the procedure. Begin is there, so there should be end. Now what you do, you don't want to insert the data directly. You don't want to insert the data directly. So let's see how to insert. Truncate table and provide the required table name. Let's reset the identity first. Execute and get the procedure name. Okay, here it is. Execute procedure name and specify values. Okay, here it is. But this time give some values here. Sorry, it should be like this. Give some values, and I would like to give invalid value. See, earlier problem we gave invalid value, so identity is missing, right? Now you don't want to miss your identity. Okay, let's see. With this information, Now here it is. Okay, now here we go. Let's insert some data. Okay, we insert the data first. Verify the data. Here there is no problem at all. ID values will be in the correct sequence. They will be in the correct sequence always. Remember, no issues. It will be in the correct sequence. Why? Because we are validating the data first, then proceeding for the insertion of the values. Validating the data first, okay? Then only inserting the data next. I repeat once again. Let's observe it carefully. Okay, so here we go. For example, I'll just take you to my other computer because here I have some issue with the mouse. I'm not sure. It's my bad. Let's see. Yes, let's take the example once again just to make it clear. Okay, I just want to show you the things in a simple way. I repeat again in a simple way. Let's see. Problem here. Firstly, let's create a database and connect database. We know what is a procedure. Basic level procedure information should be enough. I'll say first drop table. During table creation, I said identity. Okay, just in case. Identity with 1,01,1, 1. And I'll make it simple. It's identity, right? So we need not supply the values here. Okay, like this. We need not supply the values for ID. And I'll say here Nepal, which is not correct. In a batch, inside a batch, the success or failure of one statement will not impact remaining statements. What is that? Inside a batch, collection of SQL statements. The success or failure of one statement will not impact remaining statements. See here. Though there is an error, still the next statement continues. Well, now, no, Sai, I don't want to continue. If there is an error, I would like to stop the batch. See here, though there is an error, next statement continued, right? Here it is. Now you say, Sai, no, I don't want to continue. I want to stop. Then what we do? Set exact abort on. Exactly wherever there is an error, you would like to stop there. Exactly wherever there is an error, you would like to stop. Let's see now. Okay, here it is. My bad. Here it is. Side 2. Exactly. There will be an error at fourth insert. So it stops. It won't continue. Earlier you got Janisha. Now Janisha is never executed. Never inserted. Insert into table name. Select star from, right? From table name. And problem here, 4 is missing. See, 1,04,000 is missing, 1,06,000 is missing. So I cannot trust identity property just by the syntax. I cannot trust it. See here, 1 lakh 4 is missing, 1 lakh 4, say 1 lakh 4 is missing here, right? Missing ID value, we have 1 lakh 1, 2, 3, directly 5. So what we do? Solution. I said procedures. How? Firstly, reset the identity, truncate table table name, or other one. Instead of creating table like this, so issue from above, I'll provide you this information to you on email. From above, we see missing identity values. Solution, use stored procedures to validate the data and then decide to insert. It's like a protection layer. Procedures are like a protection layer to your database for data inserts, like my skin of my database. Here it is. So the correct table design process. Let me remove this check constraint and this one. Create table first. Okay, I'll say drop table. Table already exists. I'll simply drop the table first so that I can reuse the syntax. Primary key, unique key, foreign key, identity. Better to give them in the table definition itself. What is that? During table creation itself, good to include primary key, unique key, foreign key, and identity as needed. But you don't insert directly. No. Use stored procedure to validate, insert data. Doing this way, we can achieve below advantages. Number 1, scan and monitor the inputs. Okay, then decide to validate, insert. First advantage. Number 2, these procedures can be given to applications, apps built using Python, .NET, Power Apps, etc. for end user inputs. Number 3, these procedures can be used to secure and optimize the DML operations by DBAs. One procedure, it can make our entire project team happy. Let's see. So you don't want to say insert into table name directly. DBAs will not agree. They say, no, don't expose a table name to the user. How we can do that? So get your table data insertion logic inside a procedure. That procedure will be given access by DBAs to the users. That procedure will be used to supply the values by application developers, Power Apps, .NET, Python, etc. We are at the back end. Here it is. What we do now? The end user, assume I open my mobile. I launch one app. The app is asking me to enter the name and ID. I say name, ID, my mobile number, save it or submit. There is an app. App can be built by Power Apps. But internally what happens? That logic will be collected by Python or .NET, some programming language, and then store that content in the database, SQL database. Database is the backend. Python, .NET, Power Apps are the application level. Power Apps has both application level activity as well as front end activity. I'm talking from data insertion perspective. Reporting perspective, okay, Power BI can be a nice front end, though it has its own storage. Now let's see how to do this activity. Simple. Create procedure, SP2 report, sorry, SP2 validate and insert. @ name, say varchar, just repeating it. @country of type varchar and @sal as within begin and if @name is not null and @country in, give the required condition. Alphabetical order, better option. India and USA. Okay, here it is. In requires one parenthesis and @country requires another parenthesis. Next, and @sal above 1 lakh. Then only insert. Insert into table values. Which values? Yes, we need to specify @name, @country, @salary. Okay, like this. Else print invalid, insert. So try again. Like this. Some friendly message to the users. Create a procedure, test it. Previously what happened? 1,04,000 is missing, right? Previously 1,04,000 is missing. Now no more missing data. Let's see. exec procedure name. exec procedure name like this. See here. Okay. exec procedure name in this way. See, invalid insert. But still it continues, right? The remaining statements will continue. Now let's verify the solution. Select from table name. Execute. So select from table name, right? Select from table name and select and execute. Now see there, correct, consistent data insertion. Validity is there. No missing identity values. Consistency is there, right? Security is there because we are not exposing the table name to the user. User was given only the skin. My procedure name. User don't know the table name. Application developers don't know the table name. They are not exposed all the unwanted details. They just know the procedure. And DBA or developer will say the procedure is going to talk to the table. You take care of procedure. I'll take care of table. We are done. So this is the first problem and the solution for procedures. Problem is missing identity values. Solution is better to use stored procedure for it. One more. Procedures can be used. Stored procedures. We can use them for the purpose of course, dynamic reporting activities is always there. Dynamic reporting. And when it comes to the dynamic reporting or data validations, they may perform slow. Procedures may perform slow. But why? Why? What's the actual background activity here? This is important. Whenever we define a stored procedure, remember some points. Number one, the code or the text or the definition inside the procedure can be any valid TSQL statement. It can be DDL, DML, DQL, or it can be transactions, TCL we call, etc. No limit. Here, the code or the text or the definition is checked for syntax. Then a compiled code is auto-generated, comma, stored in database data file, that is MDF, primary data file. Remember this. Syntax is checked, compile code is generated. Compilation is a process of converting high-level code SQL into machine understandable code. Zeros, zeros, and ones. Okay, now, so what? One important thing missing here in this sequence is checking for the existence of the object. Remember, it won't check whether object is existing or not. No, it only check for the syntax. That's it. What does it mean? For example, create procedure ABC as select star from DEF. You write like this, execute, it works. There is no table called DEF at all. Okay, there is no table called DEF. If I execute, I get error. But my procedure can be created even though table does not exist. You ask me, Sai, what's the use then? There lies a nice usage. Procedures can be used to query dynamic tables. Procedures can be used to query unknown tables, now may be known by runtime. We call it deferred name resolution. What is it? Deferred name resolution means their names will be resolved later. I'll write the statement here. Stored procedures can support Deferred name resolution means SPs can support statements on objects that do not exist in the database. Something like this. Then what happens? Only syntax is checked. Now here is a problem. See, if table itself is not guaranteed to be exist, then what about the optimization? Here we go. Number 3. Okay, very important actually. We should know the background BGM, we call the background concepts, background management. We need it. Background is architecture level management. Case 1, if the object already exists and it is permanent. See, a procedure can even store the queries pertaining to temporary tables. For example, not existing unknown tables. So if table is known, already exists and it is permanent, okay, then the compiled plan is optimized. The best plan will be taken care by an internal component called query optimizer. Remember, it's one of the architectural component. What is that? Query optimizer, an internal component, will take care of this activity. What is that? To find the best execution plan. Here is a server architecture, and we are talking about optimizer that comes after compiler. Parser and compiler to check for the syntax and convert from high level SQL code to machine code. After that, optimizer, what it does? Find the best way to execute the query, and query is getting executed on the table residing in the file, right? Your data file. See friends, here no magic, everything practical. SQL Server is after all a man-made application. There will be a logic behind everything. We no need to really imagine something, not required, no dreaming, no imagination, everything practical. What is it we are learning now? Whenever I write a procedure, internally it is parsed, compiled, check for the syntax and compiled, zeros and ones, then optimized if possible. What is optimization? I need to travel to your home. Say you invited me, or say I invited you for a cup of coffee at our high-tech city office. We got a new office very recently. Say I came to know, okay, you're in Hyderabad. So that, okay, let's have a cup of coffee. Let's discuss new things in our technology, or let's discuss our resume. Come, I invited you. So you open Google Map and you drive in, right? First time. Again, next weekend we thought of meeting again for some other reason. Maybe a win-win cooperation for, say, business promotions or whatever. But second time, you are having more optimized plan with you, where to park your car, right? Or how to drive in that particular place, etc. So second visit is more easier always. First visit is like a demo. Second visit, the actual activity is more optimized. The same thing here, the same thing. So query optimizer is like a brain of SQL Server. Find the best execution plan to execute any query, to access any data from the table. Here it is back. If the object already exists and it is permanent, then compile plan is optimized by internal component called query optimizer. Okay, here it is. Okay, compile plan is optimized. This optimized, the resulted optimized plan, also called as query plan. Remember, query plan is then stored in the database itself, MDF file. Okay, in addition to procedure definition. Well, there are good number of commands to verify every line that I'm writing here. Case 1, procedure plus plan are auto generated. Hence, a procedure is defined as a pre-optimized, pre-compiled, pre-compiled database object. Remember this. Especially if you are planning for online interviews or any other kind of events, this is a good point. Pre-optimized, pre-compiled database object procedures. That's a beauty. Number 4, case 2. If the object do not exist, maybe dynamic or temporary table, then only the compile plan will be stored. No scope of optimized plan storage. Okay, remember. Fine. So you got case 1, case 2. What next? Now the actual part. During execution, remember, see, okay, we designed the procedure, fine, happy. What about execution? What happens internally? During execution of procedure, case 1, if object exists and pre-compiled, say pre-optimized, or simply say optimized plan is available, then it is used automatically. But again, assume you created a procedure 2.5, 3 years back. You are using it now for the first time. In such a case, what happens? Optimized plan is automatically regenerated the first time you execute the query, first time you execute the procedure. Here it is. If database engine detects outdated optimized plan, then a new plan is auto generated immediately and used to execute the query or execute the procedure. Remember, so we have to say thanks to database engine, it is doing the help for us. Case 2, if object does not exist during SP creation, here it is SP, during SP creation. If object does not exist during SP creation, In such a case, of course, no optimized plan, right? Isn't it? So during SP execution, it verifies for the object existence. Object means like a table. DEF, select star from DEF, it's not existing, right? During execution of the procedure, it checks. See, creation of procedure, okay. But if when I say EXEC procedure name, at this time you get error. Why? Because there is no table called DEF, right? Let me put this way. Create procedure name. It's already there. Now execute ABCD. At the time of executing ABCD, it gives me error saying there is an invalid object DEF. We are talking about that object. Object means here table. Table, view, anything on top of which procedure is created. So during SP execute verify for the object existence. See, it's checking this one. That's why it says invalid object DEF. I'm executing procedure. It is checking for the table name. This is what executing right now in the screen. If not exist, then report error as usual. If exists, then new optimized plan is generated. This makes the SP execution process slow. So avoid using temp tables and dynamic tables in SPs if possible. Why? Performance reasons. There are nice varieties, nice alternatives for temporary tables. Remember, like CTE, common table expressions, one of the best alternative for temporary table. Table variables, another a nice alternative. Mars we call multiple active result sets, another nice alternative for temporary table. Avoid using temporary tables and dynamic tables inside procedures if possible. Why? Performance problems. Okay. Final part, number 6. Number 6. Here we go. For example, consider a scenario in which you performed huge volumes of bulk operations on the object. Here object means a table, okay? Example table. I'll provide you an email with all this content. I'll do anyway. Assume case on object. Object means table in our example, okay? Object means table to make it more easier. Like for example, DEF table. Huge volumes of data operations are performed. Or DBA team performed few index management activities. Then why to wait for reoptimizing the procedure until runtime, until its first execution, isn't it? Assume DBA team did some management activities, or you yourself inserted some huge volumes of data into the table. Then there is every need for new plan, right? New execution plan to travel to the table and query the data. Why to wait until procedure execution? Because during procedure execution only the plan is getting checked. Why to wait? In such a case, it is recommended to recompile the procedure manually. This will auto trigger regeneration of new execution plan or new optimized plan. This is a concept. How SP recompile and procedure name. This one. So whenever we go for slow running procedures, generally we say, okay, go for recompilation. Why? That is the actual trick here. When someone says, oh, procedure running slow, do recompile. What does it mean? There is a problem, take medicine. That is what it is actually. But why? Why we are running into problem first? It is because, well, there is a problem, you go for medicine. Okay, but why problem came? Why? Because we failed to handle the bulk operations from ETL teams, data engineering teams, or failed to handle the post-index management activities by DBA teams. That is the actual root cause analysis here. That is the reason procedure running slow. Hence, my doctor is nothing but DBA. They say SP recompile. So SP recompile is really good. Nothing, no doubt about it. But we should not welcome for the problem again to pay for the medicine, right? Better to cure it, or better to take preventive measures. So preventive measure is make sure you do recompilation of any procedure immediately after bulk inserts or immediately after index management. If we fail to do this activity, at least at runtime, again we need to go for recompile, just like a medicine. So better to give immunity to database by recompiling the procedure after bulk insert or after index management activities immediately. These are the points from procedure perspective. I'm not touching anything about security. I'm not touching anything about optimizations nor debugging controls. Those are separate departments altogether. With this, I respect your time. Busy weekend. Thanks for joining me. We are going to meet either next week or later next week again. Let's stay tuned to our emails. Actually, we couldn't give WhatsApp notification due to few reasons yesterday. There was too much workload for our team because we got a new office and recruitments are going on, because we won one small project from one of the startup companies actually in Hyderabad for their end-to-end solutions, right from back-end to front-end app, mobile app, right from mobile app creation to everything. So we are busy working on it. So I couldn't manage time to instruct our team yesterday for sending WhatsApp notifications. I found some time and sent you the email and invited you to join the webinar. But next time I'll surely try to give WhatsApp communication also, or better I'll do this way. Otherwise better I'll do this way, friends. I'll create one WhatsApp community. Okay, please add yourself to the community there. I'll send you the class notes today and few additional examples on SP stored procedures and I'll also provide you the WhatsApp community link, okay, to join. Please join there so that we can have more meets like this. Okay, will do. If you are missing, no problem. I'll provide you the video in the same community link anyway. You're missing the event for some reason, no problem. I'll provide the video anyway. Will do. Let's make sure we practice as is to get the best out of our efforts. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a nice time. And I'll send you all this information. Please go through it carefully during your free time. The example and the background activity. Few more examples on email. Let's save our time. Thank you so much for joining me. And once again, sorry for not able to give mic to the participants because of huge nice crowd over here. Thank you so much. Any questions? Please WhatsApp me, and I'll check my WhatsApp 90300 40801. Or you can mail me in reply to the session notes. Please mail me, and we'll take it from there for any kind of clarifications. Anything else, please WhatsApp me and we'll take it from there. And attendees are planning for resumes. Please be cautious on your resume plan. Make it meaningful. Make it in a realistic way. Okay? My support always. My support always. With a smile. My support always. Thank you so much and have a nice time. See you soon in our next class. Thank you once again, friends. Thank you for choosing SQL School. I always bow and say thank you. Yes, I always feel the effort, the pain, and the love of my students in every grain I eat. I promise. Really, I promise. I have that gratitude. Hence, these webinar classes for the active participants. I'll continue having my gratitude to the next level. Thank you so much again and again. Thank you, friends. Bye. Thank you so much. Any more questions?